Hello again, I'm still Ben. Let's find out what our topic is today. Another big piece of paper. Some of these are much smaller than other pieces. Oh, this is going to be the first one in the philosophy section, I think. So welcome to the philosophy section. This is going to be a great one. The purpose of government, the four pillars, ensure safety of the citizens, economic stability, health and wellness, and education of growth and knowledge. Now that's all kind of a lot to go over, so I'm going to hold this up here so I keep remembering what I'm talking about, because my brain does tend to wander sometimes. Now, this is what I would call the purpose of having a government in the first place. There's a lot of like anarchists or what have you kind of crazy people out there that are like, well, let's just get rid of it. Let's be libertarians and just sort of all have guns and do whatever we want instead of having a government. You guys are nuts. Calm down. Okay? We need laws and law enforcement in some regard, and not the regard that we have it right now. Again, that's another video. But these are the reasons that we must have a government and why a democratic government is the only kind that is fair. So these four pillars, you have to ensure the safety of citizens. I don't think anybody's going to argue about that one. You know, straight up national security, the law enforcement. Like, we want to live in a safe society where we don't feel danger going outside, and way too much of our population does not feel that way because of how corrupt things are. Let's see, the economic stability, of course, this is also the government's job. You know, that's why they've got the Fed and they've got everything else that, you know, constantly the economy is one of, if not the most important topic everybody talks about in all the election cycles. How's the economy? Was the economy better? How did our money go? We're really obsessed with that, but it is the government's job to make sure we are stable, and we've never done that. It's never been that way, ever, pretty much, because we have the greatest wealth inequality in the history of time, I think, at this point. So doing a bad job there. Health and wellness. Now, some societies are already moving towards what's called a wellness-based economy, and that's much more correct, and I think we should, because kind of in this larger scheme, we can't be safe, we can't be stable, and we can't have the chance to educate, grow, and learn if we are not healthy and well. And this country is not, by any means. We are constantly being poisoned by things. No one's in very good physical shape or mental shape. And the government does not care, because we keep having to yell, hey, we want healthcare that's affordable. And they keep going, oh, did you? Okay, so they don't care about keeping the country stable at all. That's the way to keep things stable. If we had a better financial spread, if we had a more equitable time for health and wellness and education and all these things, then that means the average American would then have time to go to the range and practice. And there's 340 million of us, roughly, okay? There's only 2 nations in the world with more people than us. Okay, and it's a lot more. Sure, we're kind of at a fraction of what those are, either India or China, which is about a seventh of what India is and about a fifth of what China is. So it's a lot further down, but the sheer scope and size of the nation, if everybody, imagine for a moment everybody was fairly healthy, fairly stable, fairly doing well instead of how we're doing now. No one on earth would try to attack us because they already know we're crazy, right? Nobody. There would never be an external threat that is legitimate, because suddenly we're all in good shape. Suddenly we're doing pretty well. You know, these are the purposes that our government needs to serve. And without these, or if the people in charge simply don't care about them enough to spread this out to everyone and make sure that this is a true nationwide federal kind of mandate, then they're doing a bad job, and I think they're doing a bad job on purpose. What else do I want to say about? Ensure the safety of citizens, easy. Economic stability. You know, there's going to be a lot of argument in the framework for economic stability because people don't understand that democratic socialism is the way to have that kind of economic stability. It's become a boogeyman spooky word for people. And again, I encourage people to continue to research and educate yourselves more because it's actually the thing we need. Do you enjoy having a 40-hour work week and getting paid for full time when you work 40 hours? That was an FDR thing. That was widely hated by all of the companies and private industry at the time, just like all of the other things that were like social safety nets. You know, those aren't bad. Those don't cost us more money. Those are things we need to have and need to improve upon because without them, you can see the result. Everything is falling apart rapidly, you know? And it ties all into the health and wellness and the industries that are poisoning us and the ones that continue to allow it to happen. You know? I guess that's about it. I wanted these videos to be a little bit longer for philosophy, but if I can sum it up quickly, I think that's even better. I'm Ben Howison. Sursum Corda.